The SEAL Admiral asked her rank as a joke, then realized her sniper tattoo outranked him. They said the Pentagon was the safest place in America. But that morning, when a quiet woman with steady eyes walked into the SEAL Admiral's briefing room, something shifted. No one knew her name. No one cared. Until the moment she lifted her sleeve, and the room forgot how to breathe. The room was already tense before she entered. 12 top military leaders sat around a steel conference table, the air thick with urgency. Maps, satellite photos, and encrypted packets covered every inch. Admiral Briggs, sharp jaw, silver hair, quiet thunder in his voice, was preparing to brief a crisis. That's when the door clicked open. A small woman in a plain duty uniform stepped inside, carrying nothing but a tray of black coffee and folded linens. No insignia, no rank, no presence, at least, that's what everyone thought. She moved like someone trying not to disturb the world. "Who let support staff in here?" Colonel Hayes snapped, irritation bleeding into every syllable. She didn't flinch. She didn't apologize. She simply placed a mug on the table with a calmness that looked almost out of place in a room built on adrenaline. Admiral Briggs didn't even look at her at first. To him, she was background noise, a shadow in motion. But Sergeant Cole, seated near the corner, noticed something strange. The woman's eyes scanned every map, every figure, every detail with the silent precision of someone who understood far more than she was allowed to. And for a moment, Cole wondered, who exactly was she? Admiral Briggs finally leaned back in his chair, exhaling sharply. "Before we begin," he muttered, "what's your rank, miss?" Laughter rippled across the room. It wasn't kind laughter. Even the woman smiled faintly, the soft kind that doesn't reach the eyes. "Sir, I'm just here to serve." "You have a name?" Captain Turner added, smirking. "Or should we just call you ma'am?" More chuckles. "Careful, Captain," Briggs said with a teasing grunt. "Looks like she might outrank you. Maybe she's a secret 4-star general hiding in the break room." The woman lowered her gaze, hands steady on the tray. "No, sir. Nothing like that." Her voice was quiet, but there was a weight in it. A history. Sergeant Cole watched her more closely now. Every step she took was measured, grounded, balanced. Not like support staff. Not like someone here to pour coffee. Like someone trained to enter dangerous rooms quietly. Then the Admiral's gaze froze. His eyes had landed on something, a faint shape beneath the cuff of her sleeve, just visible as she reached forward. A tattoo. Black ink. Sharp edges. A symbol no civilian should have. Not unless they earned it through fire, dust, and impossible shots taken hundreds of yards away. A sniper's mark. The moment the tattoo peeked out, Admiral Briggs' expression changed. He wasn't laughing anymore. His pupils tightened. The air itself seemed to pause. "Miss," he said slowly, "show me your arm." She hesitated, not out of fear, but out of calculation. Then she rolled her sleeve up just 2 inches. Just enough. The room fell silent. Sniper's cross. Ranger tab. One confirmed long shot insignia rarely seen, even among elite forces. Colonel Hayes sat back, stunned. "That can't be real. Those marks belong to Tier 1 operators." "And dead ones," Captain Turner added under his breath. The woman stayed still, expression unreadable. She didn't correct them. She didn't explain. She simply lowered the sleeve again and resumed placing cups like the conversation never happened. "Who authorized her entry?" Hayes demanded. "This is a secure briefing." Sergeant Cole checked the entry logs again, heart pounding. "Sir, her clearance is higher than anyone in this room except the Admiral." Captain Turner scoffed. "A sniper? Serving coffee? This is a joke." But Admiral Briggs wasn't smiling. Because he had seen that tattoo once before, on a mission report stamped classified. A ghost unit. A missing operative. A woman whose name had vanished 3 years ago. And if she was here, something was very, very wrong. The Admiral's voice softened, just barely. "What's your name, soldier?" The woman set the tray down. Her hands were calm, but her shoulders rose with a quiet breath, the kind a person takes before reopening a wound. "My name is Lila Hart, sir." Silence. Colonel Hayes frowned. "Never heard of you." "You wouldn't have," she replied gently. "My file isn't visible to most." Sergeant Cole felt a strange chill. He remembered the rumors. An operator who saved an entire recon team with a shot taken from nearly 2 miles away. Wind disaster. Zero visibility. A shot no one believed was possible. A ghost with steady hands and an impossible record. But ghost stories weren't supposed to walk into Pentagon conference rooms with a coffee tray. Admiral Briggs leaned forward. "Why are you here, Hart?" Lila's gaze drifted to the tactical map on the table, a region of jagged mountains, a location known only to teams who'd bled there. "My past caught up," she whispered, voice thickening. "A unit I trained with is compromised. And if I don't speak up now, more will be." Captain Turner slammed his palm down. "You expect us to believe this? You left the military." Lila didn't blink. "No, sir. The military left me." And for the first time, her voice cracked. Admiral Briggs pushed the maps closer to her. "What do you know about this region?" Lila didn't look at him. She looked at the mountains, grainy satellite photographs of jagged ridges and shadowed valleys. Her breath trembled only once. "I know where the leak came from." Hayes stood abruptly. "What leak?" "The one you haven't announced yet," she said softly. The room froze. Briggs exchanged a glance with Cole, a silent alarm passing between them. "How do you know about that?" Briggs asked. Lila's eyes darkened. "Because that was my team. My brothers. They didn't die in an ambush. They were sent into one." Captain Turner frowned. "Sent? By who?" Lila swallowed hard. "Someone in this building. Someone who wanted them gone." A heavy silence swallowed the room. They were investigating illegal strikes, unauthorized contracts, things buried too deep for anyone to touch. Someone feared what they found. Her voice thinned, breaking. "So they silenced them. All of them." Sergeant Cole felt something twist in his chest. Grief. Rage. Recognition. "And you survived?" Briggs whispered. Her hands tightened behind her back. "No, sir." She looked up, eyes shimmering but steady. "I wasn't there. I should have been. They died without me." And the room finally understood the weight she carried. Admiral Briggs didn't move, didn't speak, didn't blink. He was staring at Lila the way a man stares at a ghost he once failed to save. Because he remembered. 3 years earlier, during a blacked-out operation, he had signed a classified condolence letter, the kind sent when a soldier's body was never recovered. Name, Hart Lilam. Status, presumed Kia. He'd written the words himself. "Why weren't you listed as recovered?" Briggs asked quietly. Lila took a slow breath. "Because they didn't want to find me." Hayes scoffed. "You're saying someone tried to erase you?" "I'm saying," she replied gently, "someone succeeded." The room shifted. Men who spent their lives under fire suddenly looked unsure of themselves. Sergeant Cole watched Lila's hands, steady, controlled, but trembling at the fingertips, the way they tremble when a person holds back too many memories. Briggs exhaled sharply. "Hart, you were part of the Raven group, weren't you?" Her eyes lifted, a flash of something old and wounded. "We weren't supposed to exist, Admiral." Cole swallowed. Raven group. The unit with the impossible shot sniper. A ghost team. "And now," Briggs whispered. Lila looked at the mountain map again. "Now the ghosts are coming back." Briggs slid the largest satellite photo toward her. "If you're telling the truth, find the breach." Lila didn't hesitate. She leaned forward, the room leaning with her. Her finger hovered above the map, tracing terrain features with alarming familiarity. "Here," she whispered. "That valley." Hayes snapped. "It's empty." "No, sir," she said. "It's blind from the north. Perfect for a trap." Turner rolled his eyes. "You haven't been active in years. You can't know current layouts." But Briggs' gaze sharpened. "How do you know this terrain?" Lila didn't answer immediately. When she finally spoke, her voice carried the weight of buried grief. Because that's where I last saw my team. A cold wave swept the room. She pointed again, slower this time, tracing a narrow ridge. They were forced down this route. It's the only path that funnels into an unmarked basin. No air support. No extraction. Cole's breath caught. That's a kill box. Lila nodded. Turner shook his head. Even if she's right, how does she know someone leaked the coordinates? Lila's jaw tightened, a tiny fracture in her calm exterior. Because I heard them calling for help. I was the last voice they reached. Silence. Heavy. Unforgiving. She closed her eyes. The room disappeared, and for a moment she was somewhere else. Somewhere cold, somewhere echoing with memory. There was a storm that night, she began quietly. Comms were dying. Interference everywhere. But then a whisper came through. Cole leaned forward. From your team. She nodded slowly. It was Ramirez. Our spotter. He sounded wrong. Wounded. The kind of wounded a medic can't fix. Lila's hands clasped behind her back, but her knuckles turned white. He said they were compromised. That someone fed their route to the wrong people. They were pinned, barely holding position. They needed extraction coordinates. Her breath hitched, the first crack she couldn't hide. I sent everything I had. Wind patterns. Altitude shift. I walked them through firing angles, cover use. I tried to keep them alive through static. Briggs' voice softened. What happened? Lila's eyes opened, shining, breaking. The signal cut out. I heard one last shot. Then, nothing. Hayes looked away. The room felt smaller now, crushed under something invisible. Turner cleared his throat, but the bravado was gone. So why come back now? Lila stared at the map. Because Ramirez said one more thing before the line died. She swallowed. He said the traitor had a familiar voice. A familiar voice? Hayes repeated. That could mean anything. No, Lila replied softly. Not to him. Ramirez didn't panic. He wasn't guessing. He recognized whoever fed them into that kill zone. Briggs rubbed his temples. You think someone in this building betrayed your team? Not think, she murmured. No. Cole froze. Something about her certainty felt heavier than proof, like she had carried this truth in her bones long before she walked into this room. Turner leaned forward, skeptical but shaken. If you knew all this, why hide for 3 years? Lila's voice dropped to a whisper. Because the moment I surfaced, they'd finish what they started. Hayes scoffed. You expect us to believe you've been hunted? Lila lifted her sleeve slightly. Beneath the edge of her tattoo was a thin scar, sharp, clean, deliberate. That was from the first attempt. The officers fell quiet. Briggs locked eyes with her. Why come here? Why today? She exhaled, shaky but resolute. Because your satellite intel this morning? The coordinates compromised. She pointed to the newest photograph on the screen. That's the same valley. The same pattern. The same trap. Her voice broke. And another team is walking into it right now. The moment she said it, everything shifted. Briggs stood so abruptly his chair slammed against the wall. Cole, verify troop deployment now. Cole ran to the console, fingers flying over keys. His face drained. Sir, she's right. A recon team was deployed at 0400 hours. They're en route to the same valley. Hayes cursed under his breath. How the hell did we miss this? Turner looked shaken. If she's telling the truth, they're about to be slaughtered. Briggs turned to Lila. Hart, how much time do they have? She didn't speak right away. She stared at the map, calculating wind drift, terrain depth, ambush spread, invisible numbers moving behind steady blue eyes. Finally, 40 minutes before they hit the funnel. Cole swallowed. We don't have air support in that sector. Lila nodded. Then they'll die in the first engagement. Turner hesitated. What do we do? Lila took a breath that trembled at the edges, not from fear, but from decision. You let me guide them out, she whispered. I know that terrain. I know the enemy's angles. And if the traitor intercepts the comms. Her eyes hardened. They won't expect my voice. Briggs studied her. The quiet operator who had walked in with a tray of coffee. And now held the lives of a whole team in her hands. The flight touched down after sunset. The airport lights blurred against the window as Ollie lifted his head, the weight of the past few days still pressing on his chest. He stepped out, feeling Pakistan's warm night breeze brush against him. It should have felt like home. But tonight home felt heavier. Outside, his mother waited with those same soft eyes he'd left behind. For a moment, everything in him broke. He walked toward her slowly, like a child who had lost something he could never replace. She didn't ask anything. She didn't speak. She simply held his face in her hands, and Ollie felt the shame burn through his skin. A man who had stood inside a freezing cave with death beside him was now trembling in the arms of a woman half his size. "Churdu Sab," she whispered softly. And for the first time, he wanted to stop searching, to stop fighting, to finally rest. But he couldn't, not yet. A truth was still unfinished. And truths like this never stay buried for long. Ollie took a deep breath. The battlefield wasn't behind him. It had followed him home. The next morning, Ollie stood outside Commander Halim's office, the file in his hand trembling slightly. He wasn't afraid of consequences. He had faced death. What shook him was the possibility of betrayal by someone he had respected his entire life. When he entered, Halim looked up, surprised. "Sit, Ollie. I heard about the mountain. I thought we had lost you." Ollie placed the file on the table, gently, respectfully, but firmly. "Sir, before the accident, Ismail told me something. And after the explosion, I found this." Halim opened the file. Pages rustled. His jaw tightened. "This can't be right," the commander whispered. Ollie watched him, every breath, every blink, every tremor. "Sir, tell me one thing honestly," Ollie said softly. "Were we fighting the enemy? Or were we being used by him?" Silence. A silence heavier than bullets. The commander leaned back, eyes closing for a moment. When he opened them, grief sat where pride once lived. "I never wanted you boys to know," he said. "It wasn't a mission. It was a cover to protect someone far above us." The room seemed to tilt. Ollie felt the world shift under his feet. "So Ismail died, not for Pakistan," Ollie whispered, voice cracking, "but for someone's mistake." Halim didn't deny it. And that was the confirmation Ollie feared most. For days, Ollie walked like a shadow of himself. His evenings were spent by the small river behind his house, watching the water carry fallen leaves downstream. He wondered how something could move forward so peacefully, while he felt stuck between grief and anger. The truth had weight, a weight that didn't let him sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Ismail's smile. He saw the cave, the fire, the moment everything changed. One night, his sister found him sitting outside, head in his hands. "Bye," she said gently. "Why are you punishing yourself?" He didn't answer. "You can't carry two deaths," she whispered. "Ismail's and your own." Ollie closed his eyes, fighting the sting. "No one will ever know what happened," he said. "No one will know the truth." She held his hand. "Sometimes the world doesn't need to know. But you do. And so does his family." Her words lit a small light in the darkness he'd been drowning in. Ollie realized something then. Justice isn't always a courtroom. Sometimes, it's simply telling the truth to the people who deserve it. And he knew exactly where he needed to go. Ollie stood outside Ismail's home, heart thudding like a drum in his chest. He hadn't been here since the funeral. Facing death had been easier than facing this door. When it opened, Ismail's father looked at him, tired, aged, but gentle. "Beta, you came." Ollie felt his throat close. "Uncle, I have to tell you something." They sat inside the small living room, the same one where he and Ismail used to share jokes during training days. Now it felt sacred, heavier. Ollie spoke slowly, carefully, truthfully. He told him everything: the cave, the final moments, and the secret that had shattered everything. Ismail's father didn't interrupt. He didn't cry. He simply held the tasbih in his hand and listened. When Ollie finished, he couldn't lift his eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I couldn't save him." The old man placed a hand on Ollie's shoulder. "Beta, no one can fight what Allah writes." He paused, voice trembling. "But you gave me something today. You gave me the truth. And that is a kind of peace." Ollie felt tears blur his vision. "Live well," the father whispered. "That will be his justice." In that moment, Ollie felt a burden lift. Not completely, but enough to finally breathe again. Months passed. The world moved on, as it always does. But Ollie had changed in ways no one could see. He had left the force quietly, without anger. He now worked with local youth, training them in discipline, courage, and the art of standing back up when life dropped them to their knees. Every morning, he climbed a small hill near his village. Not the mountain that took Ismail, but a gentler one, where the sun broke through the clouds like hope returning after a long winter. One morning, as the first rays touched his face, Ollie whispered, "Bye. I'm still here. I'm still trying." The wind moved softly around him, like a hand on his shoulder, like an answer, and for the first time since that night in the cave, Ollie smiled. Not because the pain was gone, but because he was finally learning how to live with it. Some truths break you, some truths free you, and some do both at the same time. Ollie learned one thing: you don't heal the day you stop hurting. You heal the day you decide to keep living, even with the hurt. Because courage isn't in the mountain you climb. It's in the choice to climb again, after it nearly takes everything from you.